Frank wanted to see how to identify the highest high of the last 10 bars. So, highest high of the last 10 bars. Let's see. I think there's two ways. Well, let's see. Yeah, I think there's a couple of indicators that'll do that, but we have one. There's a free indicator that comes with the Shark Indicator software that it's a lot easier to use. So let me show you Chameleon here. So I think Ninja has a built-in indicator. I'll just show it to you real quick. The max. So I think you can use the max indicator to identify like the highest high or the highest close of however many bars. Just change your period, and I think that the period is basically the number of bars. That's what a period is the number of bars that you're counting back. So the max would do that, and then the min indicator could find like the lowest low or the lowest open or the lowest close of the last X number of bars. So those indicators comes with Ninja, or we could use Chameleon, right? The SI Chameleon here, and Chameleon has a look back period, so it's defaulted to 10, so that's 10 bars, and then the high and low plots, they're actually high bounds and low bounds, which means it's going to be the highest high of the look back period, right? So it's going to plot the high bounds or the highest high of the last 10 bars, since my look back period is set to 10. And same with the low. You notice that the high and the low are labeled bounds, but all the other price points are just an SMA. So with the look back of 10, then if you look at the close plot, the closing price, it'd be the SMA 10, because my look back is set to 10. So so let's just throw that on there, and there you go. So the green is the high bounds, so it's the highest high for the last 10 bars, and the red is the low bounds. So also, let's see, there's one more I just happened to think of. I was looking at this plot, and it looks an awful lot like another indicator that I'm familiar with, the Donkey channel here. So set your period to 10, and let's see, yeah, those colors should be readable there. I'll just make them a little thicker. And there you go, there's the Donkey channel. And you can see that the Donkey channel looks exactly like Chameleon. Yeah, they're plotting exactly on top of each other. Let's see if we zoom in here. Yeah, you can see the little red hashes underneath the blue Donkey channel line. So there you go, there's a couple of options there to help you identify the highest high and lowest low of the last 10 bars. Okay, so now the next question is about blocking trades, or well, not blocking trades, blocking signals between a specific time. So, so the question is, between 8 p.m. and 9:30 p.m., the user would like to block any exit and or reversal signals. So he'd like to block his exit signals, and block his entry signal. So a reversal signal would be a entry signal, right? So give me a moment here. So I'm gonna need a moment to kind of get things set up a little bit. to do this here. So, all right, let's kind of get BloodHound started here. So I need to put in today's file name. All right, and let's see. Make a couple of logic templates to start with. Let's see, so exit, and so there's one logic template to work with. So, because we need to block some exit signals between these times, and we're also going to block entry reversal signals as well. All right, so I'll just generate some really simple entry signals here. All right, so there's something real simple, just to generate a ton of signals, so we can easily see blocking of these signals. So let's just name this solver here. So it's just a simple price inflection. All right, and let's see. So we're going to go back to yesterday. Let's go back to yesterday. And let's see. Oil may not be a good instrument for this. So, well, how about if I'll put it on a 5-minute chart. All right, so I'll just draw a little box so we can identify the time here. All right, from there to there. All right, so that's our time block there. 8 o'clock to 9:30. Missed a bar. There we go. All right, so we want to block signals right within our little box here. So that's our right from 8 to 9:30. So that's our goal, and so here's kind of the full question here. So we can see right before our little time zone, we have a short signal. So, so this question's come from Thomas. So Thomas wants the last trade, which would be a short trade. He wants that last trade to just play out and not get interrupted by a exit signal or possibly a reversal signal later on. Right, so to kind of, right, so if you're jumping into a short signal right before 8 o'clock, then he doesn't want this long signal on the next bar to interfere with that short trade. Right. So that's what we're going to do. And so right there we go. And let's see. All right, yeah, I'll just do the entries first, and then I'll switch over to the exits. So simply, all we need is a time session solver to do this. So let's plug that time solver in. And the next step is we need to open up our session templates here. And we're going to create a custom NinjaTrader session template for this, right? So you'll notice that this is NinjaTrader's Session Manager, where you can take a look at all your session templates here. So let's take a look at some of the ones I might have already. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have one for late at night, so let's just make a new one here. So I'll make a new one, and I'm going to use an underscore so it puts the name, so it puts this name up at top here. So I'll just go 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Just create a simple one like that. And then I just need to, let's see, hit the add button here, and I'll put my times in. All right, 8 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. There we go. So I've got my time block identified. Now I can just right click and then add Monday through Friday. So if you need any help, under learning how to use the session manager, NinjaTrader support can answer any of your questions on their session manager. So just keep in mind, this is NinjaTrader Session Manager, so they'll be the ones to give you guys help or advice on using their session manager. The next thing to do is check the time zone that these times are good for. So see, I drew my little rectangle on my time zone, so I'm going to switch the time zone here to my time zone. There we go. All right, I'll click Save and then click OK. And next, you can see, right, the time solver is outputting, a long and a short during that time period that I just defined in my session template there. All right, so, and let's see. Let me just, I've noticed that it's kind of one bar short, and I should have adjusted my time just a tad bit. So, but anyways, you can just adjust your time to get the results you want there. And so let's see. So you notice we're getting an output during the time that we actually want to block signals. So let's just take a look and see what happens if we take our trade signals, right, and put it into an AND node and then connect our time solver up. So you'll notice that we only have signals during that time block. So what we need to do is we need to adjust the output here. So in session, right, so the in session is between 8 p.m. and 9:30. That's our in session time. So what we want to use is not in session here. So we actually created a session time that's just 8 to 9:30. So we created a session time that's 8 to 9:30. So we want to actually use the opposite of that. So the not in session is the opposite time. So now you can see we're getting all the signals outside of our little time block there. And so that's how you would block any reversal signals during that time. Of course, it's going to block any short signals in there as well. But Thomas Nick didn't mention that he would want to take additional short signals during this time. So, and my assumption would be that if you're blocking exit signals in this time, then you may not be exiting to take another short trade. So So with that being the case, you can just block, all the short times and all the short signals, I should say, and all the long signals. Just block all the signals within that time block. And then, so let's just kind of work on the exit signals here. Well, basically, it's just the same concept here. Really, the exit signals is just the same concept. So really, I'd just be, let's say, once again, I'll just use this as my mock exit signals. And, so if these are all my exit signals happening, then again, I would just use a time session solver and then use an AND node to connect my exit signals with the time solver. And again, just block your exit signals within that little time block there. So, all right. Well, I think that takes care of that question. All right. So we want how to set up the bar direction solver reversal off a support and resistance line. All right. So it looks like we're looking for a bounce off of support and resistance. So, all right. I haven't done that in a while. So let's erase everything here and okay. All right, so bounce off of support resistance. So let me get some indicators on here to work with. And all right, so I'm just going to use NinjaTrader's pivot indicator, and we're going to set it to, let's see, daily. We're going to set it to, it already is set to calc from intraday bars, so that's good. And all right, let's see if we have any lines to work with. Great. Okay. All right, looks like got lucky and we have a perfect situation here. So there we go. There's like a little mini bounce off of S1. So, all right, so let's get started here. So the first thing we want to do is get the support resistance solver out. Let's grab that support resistance solver. And we are, let's see, okay, so we're looking for a bounce here. So if you're looking for a bounce, you're looking for tailwind. So we want to set the mode to tailwind for a bounce. All right, so a headwind is used to block trades when price is going into support or resistance. Then headwind is used to basically prevent signals when you're going into a support or resistance. But if you're going away from support or resistance, excuse me, away, then you want to use tailwind. So, all right, tailwind mode, and let's see, we want to use an indicator here. So, set that to true, and let's change our indicator. So let's go find the pivots. All right, set the indicator up the same way. You need to use calc from intraday bars. And so here's one unique feature of the support resistance line. So you see it has this select all, and you can select all the plots, right? Because if you're looking for support resistance, right, usually it's a lot of indicators out there have multiple plots. And so you can use, you can turn off, say like for example, you're not interested in looking at R3 or S3. So we can turn those off. And that way we're only looking at right, R1, S1, R2, and S2. Oops. So we're only looking at those support resistance lines. So you can pick and choose whatever plots you want there. So I'm just going to select them all here, turn them all on, click OK. All right, so we're analyzing all of these plot lines here. So, and then the next thing is you have to kind of figure out what your distances are. How close does price have to get to your support or resistance in order to, determine that you're close enough for a bounce. And so in our case, we're going to be looking. We're going to be determining, is price close enough to be looking for a possible bounce off of support or resistance. So you notice that it defaults to ATRs, which is kind of handy, if you're working with minute bars and stuff. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to set this to ticks. So, and let's see how many ticks away are we here. All right, I'm just going to try something like 5 ticks. We'll see if 5 ticks works out here. Okay, so 5 ticks does seem to work out here. So you'll notice, so the support resistance solver on its own, doesn't do all the work. So let's take a look here. So right on this bar, basically price is moving up, and it got close enough to our resistance line that we could get a possible short bounce, right? So the support resistance just says, hey, you're close enough to this resistance for a possible short bounce off of it. But it's not, you can see it's not identifying the bounce. The bounce obviously happens a bar or two later, right? A bounce has happened a bar or two later. It's just telling you that the price is set up to do the bounce. And so you need to use other solvers to actually look for the actual bounce, or to look for price reversing off of that. So, and so you can see right here, right, the support resistance solver isn't an actual bounce solver. It's just telling you that price is within a certain distance of your support resistance line. So right here, this bar, basically price just broke below just below the S1 line. So price is below the S1 line, right? And so that's what the solver is telling you. The solver is just telling you, hey, you're below the S1 line. You're within range, but you're below it. It doesn't tell you that you came up from underneath for a bounce. It just tells you that you're below it. And then the next bar, we can see the bar closed just above it. So the solver is just telling you that hey, price is really close. It's within 5 ticks of S1, but price is above the line. So, right. So that's all the solver is really doing. It's not actually doing all the work of detecting a bounce and everything like that. So we're going to need additional solvers to go with this here, to work with this. So, so kind of one thing we can add to this is a slope solver. And so we can look to see, so say like for example this short signal, was price sloping up for that short bounce, or was price sloping down for a long bounce? Right, so right here price is sloping down or moving down, which disagrees with this short signal for a long bounce. Right, so if price is coming down, you might be looking for a long bounce, which disagrees with this short signal here, but finally does agree with this long signal. So, so we'll use a slope solver here, and I'm just going to use like a really small period. I'll try 4 here. Let's see if 4 works out here. And let me name the solver SMA4. So, all right, so we can see as price is moving down, we're getting a short output. So it seems to be working, right? Price is moving down, we're getting a short output because price is moving down. And let's see, eventually over here, on this one bar, we finally get a long signal as the SMA, detects that price is starting to move up there. So the SMA4 seems to be working out pretty good for this particular situation. So let me just add the SMA4 on the chart here. All right, there we go. Maybe an EMA might work out better than an SMA, since an EMA responds a little quicker. But you can kind of experiment with what moving average you want to use. So actually, I guess with that said, let's go ahead and throw an EMA on here. So EMA, SMA, pretty close. So I'll just go ahead and switch over to the EMA. And all right, so let's change our indicator. EMA, make it a 4 period. All right, and yeah, looking at it now, I noticed that we did have a short, right? The EMA starts sloping down a little faster back here. Let's see, on this bar, it's still the same. Yeah, it's still the same, only, right, we're getting a EMA sloping up right on the bar that's at the bar of the pre-bounce. So, all right, anyways, let's just kind of go with this, say this is good enough here. Now you'll notice that, right, so if we're looking for bounces, then you notice that the slope solver is giving us a long, but we're not looking for a long bounce here. We're looking for a short bounce. So we need to reverse the output of our slope solver. So the default output here is in direction. So we want to turn that off. And we want to use the against direction. And that's going to reverse the output. So here we go. So now price is moving down, and we're getting a long from the slope solver in preparation for a possible long bounce, right, off of S1. And then down here, our moving average is sloping up but we're getting a short output for a possible short bounce off of S1. Right? So we just had to reverse our slope solver, because basically a bounce signal or bounce trade is a kind of it's a reversal trade, right? A bounce trade is a reversal type of trade. So therefore, we need to reverse the slope output of our moving average. So, and let's grab a AND node here. Let's grab an AND node. Let's just connect these two together and see what we get so far. All right, so things are cleaned up a little bit, right? So we did clean up this short signal. That was right here. So as price is coming down, right, we're left with a long signal for a possible long bounce. And over here, we're left with this short signal for a possible short bounce, right? But these aren't the bounces quite yet. So, let's see. Will's question wants to use a bar direction, because we want to make sure that we actually get at least one bar in the right direction. So, for example, right, this is a down bar right here. So that's a down bar. So that bar is, moving away from S1. It's moving down in the correct direction of bounce. Right. So, but you'll notice that our signals are at the pre-bounce. So we need to take, the signal that we have now, and we need to shift it forward in time to actually get to the bar that will do the bounce, right? So we're actually going to be looking for the signal on the next bar. So we need to take the short signal, shift it forward onto the next bar, where we're actually looking for the bar to bounce off of S1. So let's let's shift that signal forward. And the way we can do that, let's see, a simple way to do that is we can use a look back. We can use a look back, or we could use a signal extender. I think the signal extender is probably a little overkill. The look back would be a little simpler way of doing that. And we can just use the default settings. So in the look back, what we're using is the displacement. So we want at least a displacement of 1, right? And so now we can see the signals on the correct bar, right? Over here, it took our long and it shifted it forward another bar, and we can see here that basically the bar closed down, and so with the bar direction solver, it'll actually get rid of this long signal. But over here, the short, right, this is a down bar, so with the bar direction, it'll keep this short signal, right? So we now have the signals on the next bar where the bounce should take place, right? So we need one more solver here. All right, so we need that bar direction solver to confirm that the bar is moving in the correct or the right direction for the trade. So let's grab another AND node. We'll plug that look back in there. And so watch as I connect the bar direction solver up, it's going to get rid of that long signal. So I connect it up, and bingo, got rid of that long signal there. And so there we go, we got a short signal right there. So, yep. So basically, that's kind of the short answer here. You know, if you're interested in a more kind of thorough bounce trade system, then there's other workshops that have something that have a little more complex logic in here to filter out, you know, bounce signals. So, for example, there's some other workshops that have a more advanced logic here, and it would like filter out this short signal because price really wasn't coming from below S1, right? Price was really coming from above S1. So with additional filtering, you could filter out, or with additional solvers, you know, you could filter out this short signal here. So let's see here. Yeah, it looks like we missed this, and that's because price didn't get close enough. Let's see. Oh yeah, price was one extra tick away from S1. So if I go in here and if I adjust to 6 ticks, like so, let's see. No, that didn't generate it either. Let's see. It might be 6.5 ticks away. Yeah, there we go, 6.5 ticks away. You know, the thing about support and resistance lines is they never land exactly on the tick. So even though NinjaTrader says, you know, S1 is at 44.15, it's not exactly on, you know, 0.15. It's probably like 0.146 or something like that. So sometimes with your distances, you might need to add like half a tick in there, you know, just to get something to line up there. So and so now let's take a look at the and node here at the end. And there we go. There, we were able to manage to get that little bounce trade out of it. And it looks like that's all we've got for today. Well, I'm on 5-minute bars, that's why. Switch to 2-minute bars and maybe we'll get some more signals out of there. Oh, no, actually looks like we did. Oh, there we go. Yeah, totally changed all the signals, didn't it? Yeah. So let's go back to 5 minutes. Looks a little better. So, all right. So, anyways, let me look up some of those other workshop videos that you guys can watch if anybody's interested. Let's see. I'm just going to search for balance here. Yeah, there we go. Moving average balance. So this is an old video. And this one actually looks at a bounce off of a moving average, but you could just replace the solver for the moving average with a support resistance solver. If you know, so it all depends. You know what you're using as your support and resistance. So if you're using pivots, you know, some kind of a pivot indicator with multiple plots. Right, if you're using something similar to a pivot indicator, you know, that has multiple support resistance lines, then you'll want to use the support resistance solver. You know, if you're using like a moving average that's just one plot line, then you would actually Well, you could put that in here. Yeah, you could just replace the indicator in here with that. But you could also just use a comparison solver instead of the support resistance solver. If if you're just looking at one plot for your support resistance line, there's it really it always comes down to the exact details of of what you're trying to do. The exact details of what conditions you're looking for. So let's see. Okay, so Will is asking, can you use a support and resistance line as well? So I guess you just have like one fixed support resistance value that you want to use. So say like for example if you don't have an indicator, let's say you're using some kind of a custom floor pivots formula, and you're used to just drawing your pivot line on your chart. You've like calculated this value using Excel or something like that, and so you just got this value that you're calculating on your own. There's no indicator involved with it. Then so the question is, can you use just a support resistance line? So let's see. Oh, actually, yeah, Will's asking about a trend line. Okay, so I'll follow up with that. So let's just say, so let me just kind of finish this question here. So you have a floor pivot value that's just manually calculated. There's no indicator for it, and so what you could do is you could use the pivot intervals here. So let's turn this on, and let's see here. Okay, yeah, actually, yeah, we could do this. So let's see, I'll type in, I've never actually been asked about doing this. So let me just type in 4460. So, and my upper limit will be 4460, and I can leave the lower limit alone like that. So I could just manually type in a value there. So I type in my interval, and then I'll set an upper limit to that as well. And there we go. Now we can see, there we go. So we're getting signals based off of this 4460 level, this line I drew there, right, like that. So originally this price point interval was designed for somebody who likes, say like you like intervals every 20 cents, right? Say you want to set up intervals every 20 cents, at least for oil. For oil, it'll be every 20 cents. You could do that. And so what the support resistance solver does is, it's basically setting up, support resistance levels spaced 20 cents apart, right? You're not going to see them on the chart, but internally the solver, is basically, setting up support resistance levels spaced 20 cents apart. And of course it starts at 0, so the solver starts at 0 and then just goes up every 20 cents. So you can, you can specify an upper limit or lower limit, for your interval here. Just keep in mind that your interval starts from 0. So if you want to learn more about this, once again, there's a workshop video that covers the support resistance solver in great detail. and fully explains, how to use this interval. But, if you just got one value in there, the quick answer is just do this. Yep, like that. So, and that'll just do that. And that'll set the support resistance solver up for just that one value there. So, right, let me delete everything off the board here. Okay, so, but the actual question from Will is, can you do a trend line? And I think what Will is getting to is a diagonal trend line. So let's see here. So say, we're doing a diagonal trend line like that. And the answer would be no. No, the support resistance solver doesn't have anything built in to do diagonal. But if you have an indicator that will plot a diagonal line, remember it has to be a plot. You can't use lines. Drawn lines on the chart are not usable by BloodHound. So NinjaTrader doesn't have any method for a indicator to access drawn lines like this. So I know that there's hacks out there. Well, I'd say NinjaTrader considers them a hack. They're unsupported methods for having an indicator, access a drawn line. So we know that's possible out there, and we will get around to looking at that eventually. But we don't have that. Yeah, we don't have that capability yet. So yeah. So as far as diagonal trend lines, if it's a drawn line, then if it's a line, then the answer would be no. But if your indicator can plot that, will plot that as a plot, then yes, then you could use that in any solver. You can use that within BloodHound within any solver. So, all right. So yeah, in yesterday's Blackbird workshop, we had a question about how to use a bar reversal exit signal within Blackbird, and I actually used BloodHound to generate a quick exit signal. So we'll do that here. All right, so let's see. There's a couple of ways we can do this. So let's see here. All right, so the simple way was, again, just to use a inflection solver. Like so. On a 5-minute chart, a minute bars, this probably, wouldn't make very, doesn't make reasonable exit signals. Let's see. Let's take a look at a range chart here. Let's see. Let's switch to a Renko chart. So there you go. If you're using just a simple bar reversal, I guess that makes more sense if you're using like a Renko chart for that. So there's that. And let's see, we could also add a little more complex logic. Let's see. Let's use a couple of different bar direction solvers here. Okay, so I've set this bar direction up. Let's see. Oh, and there we go. I need to shift. I'm going to shift the signals forward one bar. So let me just set that back. So let's take a look at the chart here. And so you see, right, we have up bars. Right, these are all up bars, but I have taken the bar direction solver and I've reversed the output. So we're getting short signals here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify this down bar and then identify the next up bar as a kind of a reversal bar. So right, so we have to have a bar. So what I'm detecting is a bar in the opposite direction of the next bar. All right, so if here, let's shift this forward like this. All right, so if we're on a up bar, then the previous bar needs to be in the opposite direction. All right, so that's the kind of the logic I'm gonna set up using bar directions here. So again, if this is a down bar, the next bar needs to be an up bar, or the next bar, the previous bar has to be in the opposite direction here. So what I've done is I've taken this bar direction solver and I've renamed it to like reverse bar direction, and I've just inverted the output. So you can see up bars are giving me a short and down bars are giving me a long. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to shift the signals forward one bar. All right. And, oh, sorry, I had the wrong solver selected. There we go. So make sure we got the right solver selected. And set the start bar to go to 1. So now you notice that this short got shifted onto this down bar, the first down bar. And over here, all these down bars, the long signal got shifted onto the first up bar. So that is critical. And now, if I throw in a AND node, like so, I get this. So now my reversal bars are identified, like so. So that'll work on Rankos, and let's take a look at range bars. And yeah, that works great on range bars. And I'm particularly looking for a doji on a range bar. Let's see, where's a doji? Here's a fast way to find dojis. There we go. There's a doji. You just look for the blank areas with no racing stripe. And let's see here. Yeah. Great. So this even works for range bars. And you'll notice that basically I had a doji, so there's no bar direction, but I still got this reversal here. Yep. Like so. So let's say that's one way to do it. Trying to think of any other bar types that might need some kind of special case here. I think this should even work on minute bars. Yep, so that looks like it works good on minute bars too. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see that there are some subtle differences here. So there's two kind of options that you can use to kind of play around with and see what works best for your bar type. Different bar types. You get different price movements with different bar types. So sometimes you might need some different logic here. Guys, that looks like that's it. So we'll wrap this up, right? So have a good rest of your Friday and enjoy the weekend. Out here, we're still having some warm weather before winter kicks in, so I'm looking to get out this weekend and enjoy the slightly warm weather before winter kicks in. So, all right, guys, have a good weekend, and I hope to see you guys next week. All right, bye-bye, guys.